Everybody, it's Ron. Oh, I guess I should start off with an explanation. I know I've been doing this an awful lot the last several months, and that's because the situation has changed over the last couple of months. But my ward is finally back home, healing, doing better. It's gotten out of emergency beginning of this week, or the end of last week, I should say. I think it was like Saturday. So he's back, got him a medical bed. He's healing very slowly. Therapy and things of that nature. So, that's something that's, probably pretty time consuming. You might think, if they need something, I have to run and get it, take care of all the situation problems. But on top of that, also, I'm trying to rebuild my dad's house. My dad's house, he had a lot of damage. So, friggin' 5 foot hole in the wall, appliances broken down, a lot of work outside, paint, stucco, texture, all of this shit. In other words, I just put blinds in his whole house. He's got a 2-story house. That was a lot of work because he's got shit literally piled everywhere. It's like an obstacle course. So, but I got those put up, and it's just, like I said, it's just not enough hours in the day. Even though I've been doing a lot of my readings almost daily, almost. I don't want to give myself more credit than I'm due, but yeah. So that's where I've been. Okay, I've been very, very busy, and I've been wanting to do this, but I just couldn't give it my all. So um, I just kept record of it. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to look back and try to summate, you know, the last week or two. And basically, Manas, the rune I just showed you, was the overall encompassing energy for last week, and it echoes the previous 2 weeks before that as well. And Manas is basically, it's a rune that mirrors. You're a mirror, if you will, of who you really are among other people. So Manas is the mirror, you as you are among people, shaping and being shaped. Okay, so are you allowing, you know, people to influence who you are out there? Or are you showing people who you really are? I mean, most of us, we do have something of a wall that's up because people can be downright difficult to deal with. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, I could have said a lot of other things and I felt like it, but I didn't. So, but as a result of that, we become less authentic. And authenticity is the highest frequency. It's even 400 times higher in resonance frequency and vibration, which I'll talk about in a second, than even love itself. So let's just say again, and I've talked about these things in the past, um, you are resonating at radio station 100 up here, right? You're going at radio station 100 resonance, vibration, and frequency. And what that simply means is how many, if you will, cycles are happening every second. For example, the frequency, if you will, is 60 hertz here in America. And 60 hertz just talks about if the electrons going back and forth, that's one cycle, or 1 hertz, if you will. It's happening 60 times every second, okay? So everything has a resonance, a vibration, or a frequency. If you go to China, their hertz range may be quite a bit different. It could damage some of your equipment if you hook up to it. You know, things of that nature. I'm sure they've worked out things, over the years to deal with all of that. So, but just to give you some idea what we're talking about. So it's just like magic, for example. And this is related to what we've been looking at, or I've been looking at for the last couple of weeks here with these readings, even though I haven't actually recorded it. So, again, back to the radio station 100. You're vibrating at, like I said, radio station 100 frequency resonance vibration. You're very high vibrating, right? You're up there, you're very spiritual, you're cleansing each day, you're talking to your ancestors, God, or your higher self, or whatever it is you're doing. You meditate, you work out, you eat right, sleep, all that kind of stuff, right? Down here, you have radio station 50. Okay, this is where all the charlatans, the less authentic people, those who are doing magic and or black magic in particular, hoodoo, voodoo, santeria, whatever. They're trying to work against other people's wills, or they're trying to basically manipulate energy, um, and so on and so forth. I'll just keep it really simple. And if there are other people that they're trying to do that to are also resonating at radio station 50, then yeah, they can touch those people. Okay? But can they talk? Can they affect? Can they have any noticeable outcome when they try to affect somebody vibrating at 100? The answer is no. They can't. It doesn't work that way. It's just like you trying to, you know, find out what's going on radio station 100, but I'm tuned into 50. That's where I'm resonating. That's where my vibration and, the resonances of that particular radio at that time. It can't perceive what's going on at 100. It's just like your senses. Your senses are another, if you will, observable parameter to help us understand the nature of our world. We know that there is a range that exceeds our visual acuity, our ability to see things. There is a range. Our visual acuity is only this big on a scale that is, well, beyond the screen itself. So it's massive in comparison. Same thing with our hearing. Same thing, with our touch, everything. So, in other words, they're at higher or lower frequencies, those things. And that just means there is a huge amount of reality, if you will, that we cannot perceive because it exceeds our senses' ability. It's almost like our senses were turned down to a certain point so we couldn't perceive anything greater than that. And this is why we see cats, they look and they seemingly stare into nothing, but they can see or sense, just like other animals can do the same thing. So, but we as humans, not so good. And I think that was a trait that we picked up after the fall, so to speak. And by fall, I'm talking about the last, if you will, reset or calamity that we as a species went through. And we had to, start from scratch, so to speak. And we kind of lost our way with certain things, I think. I don't think that we are progressing in our evolution. I think we are regressing, like going from gold down to iron. We are in the Iron Age, or the Kali Yuga, as they would say in Hindu belief systems, which is, again, very low vibrational. There are different vibrations in terms of our time as well. So when we're in the golden era, we walked side by side with the gods, so to speak. No crime to speak of, no harm being done, this, that, and the other thing. It was the golden age. So miraculous things. People ate, people slept, people were cared for. They had need of little. Everything was taken care of, more or less. And then you have, of course, the Iron Age that we presently are in, contrary to what many other people would have us believe, but we can see that reflected in both the Western philosophy as well as the Eastern philosophies. So, again, I believe, the things they want us to believe are completely lies. And I know I'm getting off on a tangent, and I'm sorry for that. I get in my little teaching, soapbox, and I forget myself. But we were talking about manas and what it talks about. And manas, as far as the last couple of weeks, the overall energy is basically the mirror. You are who you are among people, what they think about you, and what you think about them. Is it genuine, or is it a mask? So, and that's very, very reflective of the daily readings that I did for those past couple of weeks too, because it also indicates that somebody is struggling. They're really struggling through this. It looks like it's specifically pointing to a couple of karmic people in our lives. That may be one, it could be a dozen for all I know, but people who have done the very most to you. Um, secretly behind the scenes thinking they're never going to get caught, that their actions are not that bad. They've always gotten away with this kind of stuff, so, it can't be that bad, right? Well, they're starting to see the repercussions of their actions. And if they haven't quite yet, depending on who it is and where you're at in the timeline, then they will. I assure you they will, because it's everywhere. I'm seeing it every single day in these readings. So, and that means that because that pressure has now been poured out, they are getting back the energy that they poured out, and sent out to countless other people they've harmed in the past, people they've stolen from in the past, some they've even, if you will, done away with in the past. That energy is not coming back, and they're experiencing a lot of it for themselves. And it's not just them. Their families are also apparently starting to experience some of it too, or they will. And I don't want this for anybody, but these people who've been doing this have been given every opportunity, in fact, multiple opportunities to turn away from their actions and really start, working on themselves instead of focusing on you, the collective out there. But they just, a few of them anyway, have just chosen not to even consider such a thing. They're going down swinging. And that could be admirable in one respect, but they're just being absolutely insane about it. I mean, they're just being completely controlled by other forces. I'll just leave it at that, okay? They're not in control of themselves, and that's what the readings have been telling me. But there's another group of those karmics, if you will, and this could also, be reflective of some of the people out there in the collective as well who could go either way right now. I mean, it looks like they're teetering one way or the other. It almost looks, I'm just going to say it, it looks, I was going to say manic, or it's probably more of a bipolar type of a thing. I think they're just, one time they may be very positive and their conviction is there and everything else. You can see that they mean what they're saying or feeling at that moment. But in the next moment, they're over here and they're completely doing all the same shit they've been doing all this time. This very, very low vibrational stuff where they give in to all of their addictions, and there are many. I'm seeing gambling, and I'm seeing, not handling their money well at all. Of course, sexual promiscuity. In some cases, I mean, even some very questionable acts. And we're seeing also, some darker secrets. I'll just leave it at that. So it goes from the usual kind of stuff where ego gets in the way and they just, pride and all that kind of stuff. And then it gets to the absolute extreme in terms of what some of these people are harboring as far as secrets goes. And some of them are actually, because of this karma, they are really considering changing their ways. And that's really what this is all about. And the other side, of course, like I've already stated, they are dedicated to the end. And their end is coming, by the way. And that's just the way it is. It's not any of our job to change anybody. We can't. They have to want to change. And if they're not willing to put the work in, there's nothing you can do about that. The only thing that you can do is to be the best version of you. That way they have a working model, something they can look at, something that they can model their life around, something that they can use at least as something they can reach out, and more perceive. And they have at least a reference point, okay? For a lot of us, we had to do it kicking, screaming, and scratching our way till we finally got to this point, not really having any of those things for ourselves. But that's what this is all about. Somebody does it the first time and it opens the door for everybody else. And that's kind of where I was going with all of this before I got off in a million different tangents there. Apologies. I know you probably haven't missed that, but it is what it is. Now, the overall energy for yesterday, okay, I'm sorry. That was for the last 2 weeks. Now, for this week, for this week, the overall energy is out of ISOL. Okay, and ISOL basically tells us that the wisest move that we can make at this time is nothing. To go within, to be patient, to ask the questions, to reflect, to wait until we have the answer, and that we know in our hearts with a certainty that is the answer. Then we can move. So we're seeking clarity at this time, okay? But we're not doing anything. So keep that in mind as we go through the rest of this week, okay? Now, the overall energy for yesterday was that of Yara, and yesterday being Monday, okay? I'm doing this on Tuesday. First chance I've had because of everything going on in my life. So Yara is in the reverse, okay? Now, Yara talks about how God cannot be, or the universe cannot be, or perhaps your higher self will not, get something to happen before its time. So the fruition of something maybe that you've been working on, you can't rush it. It'll happen when it's meant to happen, okay? That's what we're getting at with this in the reverse. So it also talks about reversals and setbacks, talks about change and maybe even a sense of repetition, going back and forth, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result kind of a thing. So timing is also part of this, bad timing in particular. Talks about poverty and conflicts of every type. So that was the energy for yesterday. And again, reflective of what do we do about those things? Again, overall energy tells us for the week what we're supposed to do, to reflect on it. Don't make any sudden or brash decisions or whatever, especially if they can affect other people. Okay? Now, the energy for today, which is Tuesday, the 28th, is at Ounyo. Ounyo is in the reverse. Now, this is ordinarily the wishing rune in the upright. But in the reverse, it talks about a sense of dissatisfaction and misery. Somebody who is very headstrong, haughty, prideful, somebody who might be called an egomaniac or a narcissist, perhaps. But keep this in mind. Generally speaking, and you've all heard the adage, if you will, hurt people, and that's very true. So somebody who's very hurt has not done the inside shadow work, dealing with their childhood wounds and things of that nature, are out there doing things and harming other people. And sometimes their ego is nothing more than a mask to protect their very fragile inner being. They don't want anybody to know just how fragile they really are or insecure they really are. So it comes out magnified in quite the opposite energy. Okay? So, it helps us to find a way to try to love certain people that are very difficult to love because of their bad decisions, but they're childish, in their nature and their soul. They're young souls. I'll just leave it at that, okay, to try to make it make sense. Alright, so somebody's also very sorrowful, feeling alienated or perhaps alienating themselves. Somebody who is perhaps way overdoing it with the substances, intoxicated. Somebody basically who basically is considered to be possessed by higher forces. In fact, that's actually one of the descriptions of this energy in the reverse. So it could be exactly as I was saying earlier in terms of some of the karmics who simply have just given into, all of their desires unchecked. They're not taking any control, and they're not taking any responsibility. That's what this is basically stating here. So it talks about basically also an impractical amount of enthusiasm. Somebody who's basically faking exteriorly, or their exterior is a front, where they may appear to be doing well monetarily, um, you know, as far as all of their provisions and bills being paid, and that they seem to be happy on the outside with perhaps a significant other, or whatever the case may be. It's all staged. It's exactly the opposite behind closed doors. Okay, that's what this is telling us. Some of these people are actually experiencing somebody within that who's actually basically gone berserk, raging frenzy. This is the kind of actions that some of these people are actually doing behind the scenes, punching holes in walls, things like that. Okay. Now, tomorrow's energy is that of Fehu. And Fehu, which is the goddess Freya's rune, ordinarily is, well, oops. No, I had it right the first time. It's hard to see. I mean, the screen looks a little backwards too. But Fehu is in the reverse as well as far as an energy goes. So, although it's usually about abundance, material gain, and things of that nature, in the reverse it talks about disappointments and greed, losses, financial losses, property losses, arguments. Talks about basically a loss of self-esteem, perhaps something else that you're trying to hold on to. Maybe a lot of your secrets are coming out in the open, and you're desperately trying to keep it under control as far as how bad the damage control really is, really trying to keep it to a minimum. But it's coming out. The things that you did are coming out. So some people are experiencing complete failure and burnout, atrophy, a sense of discord, cowardice, of course. It's what got you there in the first place. It takes a great deal of courage to face up to who you really are, your true responsibilities and things. How we affect other people, all of those things we are responsible for. Every word that comes out of our mouth, we are responsible for. And I know it's easy to say those things, and it's even easier to forget those things. You get angry, say you drop a heavy weight on your foot at the gym or whatever. What are you going to say? Oh, God bless me, or whatever the case may be. No, you're going to say, yeah, motherfucker. Even though it's an inanimate object, it had nothing to do with it. It was your own whatever that created that situation, or somebody else's. But and what does that got to do with the price of tea in China? Well, nothing. I just got off on another tangent. I'm so sorry. Alright, so what does it mean beyond that? Well, poverty, slavery, bondage. And you can be a slave to, your own thoughts, let alone the thoughts of other people. Again, like I intimated earlier and so on. This is talking about somebody who is battling right now, trying to find and say, this is who I am. This is who I really am. Those who are my real people, who are vibrating at my same frequency, vibration, and resonance, will accept me. And they will be my people, okay? And you will feel that. For the other people who don't, they were never your people to begin with. They have a lot of their own work to do, and you can't do it for them. They have to do it for themselves, and that only happens when they get to a point of realizing they need to do that. That we're not here simply to consume, and the person with the most toys wins. That's all utter bullshit. That's, from, again, using the esoteric perspective, I'll just say, like Rosicrucianism of the three pillars. And it's also in Judaism, okay? With the tree of life, the Sephir, I believe it's called. You have the three pillars. Only the one in the middle, the one that's balanced, both the dark and the light, goes all the way to the heavens, right? It's not the one who's ultimately all good. No negative energy at all. That doesn't exist after all. We all have a dark side as well as our light. Our job while we're here is to find balance in that, right? This is like the masculine and feminine energies. Our job, since we have both of those, is to find balance in those things. Okay? And once we've done that, we've achieved a great deal in terms of our enlightenment in our life's journey, on this path. A lot of it has to do with that. And anybody who disagrees with that, that's fine. If you have another way of thinking in regards to that, I'd be happy to hear it. But I think I've heard them all at this point. Um, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's truly my belief, and like I said, I use it from all the different perspectives that I've looked at, all the different books, and all the different beliefs and disciplines, and both the dark and the light side. And that's what I truly believe, that we are here to balance our light and our darkness together. That's what I think. We can use our darkness. It helps propel us. It gets us through obstacles and everything else. Sometimes it gives us that drive to create that something or whatever. I mean, most of that comes from our sacral chakra, our sex chakra. That gives us the impulse to do the things that we want to create or make manifest in this world. But if we let it run amok, what ends up happening, right? We're out there fucking anything that walks. In some cases, maybe doesn't. I don't know. That's crude, and I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to make a point here. So, balanced, it means we're using that energy in ways of creating. It can be used to destroy as well. And again, it's another secret that we see in stories like about Shiva, and so on, basically. Well, you can see similarities in a lot of religions. I'll just leave it at that. That way it doesn't look like I'm pushing religion, because I'm not. But there are truths that's found in every religion, is what I'm getting at. And that's kind of one of them. Alright, so that was tomorrow's energy. Now, from Thursday on, everything is in the upright. Okay? So Thursday's energy is that of Awas. Awas. It's not coming in very clear, is it? Kind of grainy. But that's Awas. It looks not like a Z per se, but, gives you something similar in terms of its shape. And Iwas is basically the yew tree. It talks about the yew tree, which was used for a lot of different things back in the ancient days or 2,000 years ago. But it also talks about endurance. It talks about both death and rebirth. It talks about spirituality, going on a quest. It talks about success and strength. Reliability and dependability is also being denoted on that particular energy. Trustworthiness and enlightenment. Defense, protection, sense of purpose. Basically, having your sights set on a goal and achieving it, basically. Going for it. So, it's basically talking about somebody that can be depended upon. A person who can be depended upon. Okay? So, for those out there who are partaking in this journey, of course, integrity is a huge part of that. Being honest in your daily workings with everybody. And I would strongly urge you not to be completely transparent with everybody, because not everybody deserves to know that much about you. Let your yay be yay, nay be nay kind of a thing. There's reasons for all of the things that I've read in all of these texts that is starting to come out to me, and make more sense to me based on the other things that I've discovered, whether it's scientific or, esoteric, exoteric, whatever. Doesn't matter. Alright, so that is Thursday's energy. Friday's energy is another good one, Skibo. X marks the spot on the treasure map, right? So Skibo does talk about gifts, gifting, generosity, self-sacrifice. Talks about exchanges of every type, I should say, including contracts of some kind. So maybe somebody on Friday is, again, these are timeless, so it may or may not be Friday, but it's Friday's energy. Maybe actually getting a contract of some kind, put in front of them. Of course, I don't need to tell you to read the small print, of course. It also talks about a new relationship or a personal relationship of some kind, partnerships. It talks about love and divine union. So if you're single out there and you're looking for somebody else, it talks about a divine love, in fact. And again, that's Friday. And Saturday's energy is that of Canis. Canis. Okay? Canis is the torch, the fire, that, if you will, light bulb moment that goes off, the illumination, the knowledge, positivity and vision, revelations, craftsmanship even, your technical abilities, what you can create artistically or in other ways, okay? Your technical abilities, creating your own reality through your will, okay? Talks about rapport, passion, sexual love, and lust. So we're seeing that echoed again week after week after week. To say the Vikings were not bashful at all. So they call it the way it is. So perhaps for somebody out there, it looks like you're going to be awfully busy Saturday. So you might want to get a reservation and cancel all your other appointments, because according to this, you might have your hands full and then some. Alright, so that's the overall weekly energy for this week. So again, it's just echoing what we've seen the last, or you guys did, because I didn't post these on there. Other people have been posting energy, but they go and they talk about things as far as they pertain to zodiac signs ordinarily in most cases, or they'll give just a love reading, general love reading, or maybe a reading dealing with twin flame or soulmate connections, things of that nature. So every reader is a little different in what they touch on. I touch on whatever it is that Spirit gives me on these daily readings that we do, or I try to do. I haven't been very good at it lately, but I hope you forgive me. Alright, so that's the overall gist for this entire week. And remember, no matter what's happening and stuff, your basic mission, should you accept it, is to remember that the energy of the week is I saw, and it means generally that your wisest move is to do nothing except to go within, reflect, and wait for the answers. Okay? Alright. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple more readings going here in a minute. So take care. Stay victorious out there. Someday we'll all see each other in Valhalla. Okay? Take care.